Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Freedom from Nigeria. This is a place where we provide you with information that is going on in Nigeria. We not just provide you with the information, but we also make sense of what you see. Because there's so much going on and there's so much in the newspaper. And as you know, the information that comes in is the flavor of the day. So whatever is happening that day, that's what they're talking about. But here, we collate all that information. We go back years and we try to make sense for you about what it actually means. And today we have a great topic. This is a topic that is very important because it kind of touches on a number of different things. The topic today is politicians are elected to serve, and citizens must demand they serve, not starve the masses, protect, and not allow their slaughter. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We'll be talking about what is the role of the politician, the governors, the local government area chairman, and those that work with them. And then we're going to be talking about, what about citizens? Do citizens have a role that they play in good governance, a role that they play in holding the politicians accountable? And then we're going to look to see the comparison between the political lifestyle and the lifestyle of the constituents that they are supposed to be serving. And then we'll have a call on the constituents, on the citizens, that they must make if they want to have the benefits that they are expected to have in the Constitution. And now I am going to say something that is a little sad, because in the 1999 Constitution, which is a fraudulent Constitution, though the citizens have benefits, unfortunately, that same Constitution in Section 1 of that Constitution indicates that citizens cannot enforce the benefits that they're supposed to receive, which means you don't have benefits. You're pretty much at the mercy of the political class to provide you with whatever that they want to provide to you. And by the same token, when you look at, when we're talking about federal character, that talks to the fact that everywhere in Nigeria, that structure, whether it's the economic, the government, the school structures, must reflect the population in Nigeria. Again, unfortunately, sad news. The Constitution it says you cannot enforce federal character. And that has very huge repercussions to the indigenous people of Nigeria, as we'll talk about. But again, welcome everyone. And today I have Balade with me from England. And we're going to have a few more people joining up later. And we're going to be having that discussion that talks about politicians are elected to serve, and citizens must demand they serve, not starve, protect, and not allow them to be slaughtered. So I'm going to ask Balade to make a quick comment about the topic that we're talking about today. You can talk about, the role of the politician and the service that they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. Or you can talk about both that. Just give us kind of your views on that. And before we get started, welcome, Deborah.
Welcome everybody. My name is Balade Shumade. I live in Manchester. You might hear the carnival outside, but that's the matter. Anyway, the role of the people governing, that's the ones in power, is to provide a safe environment for its population and people to be able to engage in political and economic activity in a safe manner. That's what they have to be able to provide. The citizens to be able to go about their daily business with no hindrance, because they have those rights to be able to do certain, as long as they are not acting in a criminal manner or in a criminal enterprise, they should be able to go about their business without hindrance. And they should also be able to hold their rulers, e.g. politicians, to account. So when a politician says to somebody, oh, you've done this, you've done that, I'm going to do this to you, he should be able to say, excuse me, you can't do that because I'm a citizen and I have rights. But like the leaders just said a moment ago, our constitution is a fraudulent, the 1999 constitution is a fraudulent document.
Okay, if you can round up, that would be great.
Which says we have agreed to it. We the people have. We the people never agreed to that document. We never saw it until it was presented. And we still don't understand it. Because I, for one, I'm still reading it bit by bit. And every time I read it, I think something is not right here. That's all I can say.
Okay, awesome. Again, welcome, Deborah. I know that you haven't been on the show with us before, but we're talking about today is the politicians are elected to serve. Citizens must demand they serve and not starve, protect and not allow their slaughter. That's what we're going to be talking about today, as you can see up here. So I don't know if you have any quick thoughts on that before we dive into what we're going to be talking about and look at some information that would help us make sense of what we have going on in Nigeria.
No, I would just like to listen to what you people have to say.
Awesome. So again, welcome. So again, we're talking about what the role of the politician is. What is the role of the politician? That's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about the role of the elected officials, what benefits the citizens can expect in a country and specifically in Nigeria. And then we're also going to talk about when you compare where the citizens are to where in politics, or those that are governing, those that are elected, when you compare their status in life, what does that look like? And then we're going to have a call where we call on the citizens as to what they need to be doing. So we'll start by talking about what is the role of the elected officials. And Bolade had talked a little bit about that when we first started. And he mentioned one of the key things we're talking about today, that the role of those governing is to protect. So if we look at both the federal and the state level, protecting the life and property of the citizens is a benefit, that it's a service they're supposed to provide. In addition, there's educational benefits that citizens are supposed to receive. There is the right that they have to justice, equity, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. These are all the things that are included in the Constitution. These are the things that the citizens should expect. Citizens should also expect benefits that has to do with their standard of living, having good roads, having good schools, right? Having good hospital and healthcare systems that will take care of themselves and their families. These are all benefits that the citizens need to expect from those that are governing, who are there to serve them. So citizens have rights, and this is across the world, and it differs from country to country, but in Nigeria specifically, the things that we're talking about are the benefits that those in governing positions, including the president, those senators, the House of Reps, the governors, the local government areas, ministers, all of them have a duty to serve. And this is very important for our people to understand, because in Nigeria, we have a situation where there is undue respect and fear of the political class. When the political class is the serving class to the people. But we have this where we've put those that we have elected on pedestals and are treating them as if they are the cream of the country, which they may very well be, but that's not the point. The point is they are civil servants, just like all the other civil servants that are hired by the people. And they have a responsibility, some of which we've been talking about, to the people. Stephen, I see that you have joined us. We're talking about the role of the politician and the elected officials to serve the people. And we're talking about some of the things that the service that they need to get, which includes economic, socioeconomic, and also just infrastructure type of benefits that the citizens are expecting to receive from those governing. So I don't know if you have anything to say right now before we move forward, but if you do, you can go ahead.
Let me see if I'm on. Thank you, Jean. I just happened to be stopping by in between meetings. It is obvious in a civilized society, the government should be of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, in the contraption called Nigeria, that is not so. It's the government of the elite, by the elite, for the elite.
For the elite.
And because of that mindset, it becomes, albeit difficult, for them to afford the people all the benefits that you have enumerated so far. And that, if not for anything, any other reason, it's the biggest impetus for a change.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that's my opening comment.
Okay, awesome. So now we see that those governing have responsibility. And let me just gonna go over here and share my screen so that we can see this that I want to read here. Politicians in Nigeria are walking around with billions and millions of Naira in their bank accounts at home and abroad, living in lavish homes, driving expensive cars, and flying in private jets. Their table is filled with the best foods and wines, and they dine in lavish settings. They travel with armed guards to protect them from the killer Fulani herdsmen and other terrorists imported from around the world. They are elected to serve, but who are they serving when their constituents are hunted and killed with impunity without a word of condemnation from them? Where are their voices when cows rampage the land, destroying the lives, homes, and farms, and then driving their constituents from the land they own legally? Where are their voices to demand a return of the nations that were forcibly taken from their constituents and resulting in the stealing of their assets, their freedoms, their justice, and equity? Who are they serving when 100 million of their people are living in abject poverty, while they are living large, eating the fat of the land, and their constituents struggle to travel over potholed roads with bandits lurking at every turn, struggle to eat 1 square meal a day, and finding themselves unable to farm to survive? Citizens must demand service or continue to watch the future of their children stolen by others. So we've talked about politicians. What about the citizens? Are there actions that they should be taking? I'll come to you, Bolade. What is your role as a citizen in this situation? You heard what Stephen said. We have a situation in Nigeria where it is broken.
Yeah.
Right? It is broken. So what is your responsibility as a citizen? What are you supposed to do?
I think
that things are set right.
We got a kind of okay, I'm going to use a festival coming around every 4 years, which is an election. The politicians come, they tell us what they're going to do or what they think we want to hear. When we hear this, we have got to listen to the good stuff, and hold them accountable, whoever we elect. It doesn't matter if we didn't vote for them. No, even if we didn't vote for them, once they're in there, and they've got a
very great point, Balade. Whether you vote for whoever is elected or not, you must hold them accountable. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, so we hold them accountable. The press has a role to play as well, because the press report on these people. They've heard what they've said. So when these people are now putting out their policies, and then they say, oh, we're doing this, we're not doing that. Why do they should say in the press conference, Mr. Minister, when you were campaigning, you said you were going to spend 4 billion on this, but now you're telling us that you can only spend 1 billion. What happened to the 3 billion you said you were going to spend? They should be asking those questions, because that's the way we'll be holding them accountable. And then people can turn around and say, yeah, you said that, write the minister a letter. And when their inbox is bombarded, email or whatever, they get these...
Or go into their office, right?
Or go to their office and say, yeah, we want you to do this. You said you're going to do that. But because it's not in the Nigerian, how do I put it, psyche, or maybe it's not in their
DNA, because they have believed that the power is in the hands of the elected officials, right?
They don't believe that they have a power or a role anymore. That's the two things. They have a role and the power to hold them accountable. I remember when the NSAS thing was coming about, which I didn't really understand. It's these young youths standing up and saying, we won't take this anymore. This has got to happen. But then, looking at the whole thing, it was like the government or the governor, some governor said he wanted to tell the police to look into this, and he was told the police don't answer to him. Now, how can the police not answer to the government in a place? I don't get that. That was very wrong. That's a cop-out. It's a cop-out straight away.
That's in the Constitution. That's in the Constitution.
And if the Constitution
so that is why we talked about the fact that a lot of these things in the Constitution make it very difficult to have a democratic system or a system that caters to the citizens. Okay, so thank you very much for that. And I'll go to Stephen. I see your hand is raised. Stephen, what is the responsibility of the citizen? What should the citizen be doing?
As my friend Bolade was speaking, I thought about a mentality that pervaded the society while I was growing up, like a few 100 years ago. It was called, if you can't beat them, join them.
Join them. Ooh,
which is an intermediate case of what clinical psychologists call the Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. Yes, very good.
If you can't beat them, join them. At that level, that generation, they've virtually given up. So they join them in whatsoever way that they can. Now, those generations have passed away, so much so that
but I don't think they've passed away yet.
Exactly. So the current generation, all they know, they're suffering from an acute case of the Stockholm syndrome, whereby they are sympathizing with their conquerors.
Yes.
So they would need to wake up, and you could do all the education that you want. There's no better education than the barrel of an AK-47 pointing at you to know that you need to do something. Within my alliance territory, we are doing what is called a ground what is that, awareness.
Right.
Grassroots
The
awareness.
mass mobilization of the people. We have to mass mobilize. Exactly.
You know what? We've been doing a whole lot of that for the last 2 to 3 years, but because of the intergenerational transfer of that mentality of if you can't beat them, join them, which has brought the current generation into the bad case of Stockholm syndrome that they can't wake up from, maybe the appearance of an AK-47 facing them will wake them up.
Well, we want to wake them up before those guns start going, which is why we're talking about the role of those that are governing, right? Because even if the people, and it is true, we can see from the actions or inactions being taken by our people that they definitely have an issue, right? So that's what we're talking about today. The politicians and those that are elected politicians have a role to play, but also the citizens are an important part of that check and balance that must be in place. And when that is missing, we'll have a runaway situation like what we have in Nigeria, where you have, well, those governing that feel like they don't have any responsibility towards those that they are governing, even though those that they are governing are their masters. So I want people to understand today that it is the people. By electing, you are hiring the governor, you are hiring the president, you are hiring your senator, you are hiring your representative, you are paying their salaries. So if you don't like the fact that the Nigerian senator is being paid higher than any senator in the world, not just with their compensation, but with all the allowances that they are given to them. If you don't like that, then you must speak up. You have to speak up and make sure that they understand that that must change, okay? They must understand that that must change. And I'm sharing my screen now so that we can talk about some of these things that we're talking about. Okay, back in 2019 and every year since, there has been great concern and great dissatisfaction with the fact that the Nigerian lawmakers are eating the country's wealth with insane allowances. The amount of money that they are getting is insane. They are getting more, in a lot of cases, than what the president of the United States is getting. The allowances that they're getting is allowing them to build houses in Nigeria, to have expensive cars, and abroad, to be able to fly abroad for healthcare, take their children abroad for schooling while your children are stuck in the schools in Nigeria with teachers that are not being paid and strike after strike after strike. So it is the responsibility of the citizen to speak up and say, no, there must be a change in the compensation system to those that are governing. You cannot be paid anything close to what a U.S. senator or a U.S. House of Reps is being paid, because you are not making that kind of money, and there are people in this country that need that money. Festus, I'm going to come to you to talk about the role of the citizen in making sure that we have good checks and balances. Go ahead, Festus. You can unmute. Hello, Festus. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead and unmute. What do you have to say about that? About your role and my role and the role of every other citizen, especially indigenous Nigerians, What do you have to say about their role?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Actually, we we are meant to, put our leaders to work, as in compelling them to do every bit of their promises made to us before voting for them into an office. But in Nigeria here, the reverse is the case, because after voting them into power, you don't even have right to speak, because there is a slogan that they used to say there is freedom of speech, but there is no freedom after speech. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yes, that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about, because we're talking about, the condition, the rights that the citizens are supposed to have but don't. Yes, that's one. That's definitely one. As the Lekki toll gate showed very clearly. Go ahead, Festus.
Yes, because I'm from Kogi State, and I live in Lagos. My mother is a farmer, and my governor is Yabelo. Yabelo allowed Ruga in Kogi State. When they proposed it, he was the first person to accept Fulani to take over land in Kogi State. As I speak to you right now, in the whole of my local government, half has been bought by Fulani herdsmen. Though the killing is not rampant like other places yet, but their presence is already a threat, because in most of the communities where they reside at the moment, they outnumber the villagers, because all of us are leaving the village for the city for white-collar job, and why they are taking over our villages. So it is a long-term plan for them, because they have the right to vote, and their vote is all about numbers. So very soon, in the next 2 to 3 years in Kogi State, whoever Fulani choose to be the chairman of the local government will be, and whoever they also vote for to be the governor will also be, because they are that much. And already, the governor gave them the power in such a way that they can enter any farm and destroy your farm. You cannot report. So citizens here are 100% helpless. One, you can't speak. There is no justice. I think the
things that you're saying is just very important for the world to hear. Not just for people to hear, but for the world to hear about what's going on and the systematic apartheid and ethnic cleansing and takeover that is happening. Go ahead. Once you're done, we'll talk about Ruga, what that means, and then we'll talk about how the Fulani go about conquering a place by bringing in foreigners to inhabit the land of the indigenous. Continue, Festus, because what you're saying is extremely important for our people to hear, because it's a first-hand account.
The right of citizen is taken from us. How can we get it back? The right of citizenship has been taken from every Nigerian, whether you are rich or poor, because what is happening now does not spare anybody. You see people carrying AK-47 without license, and they kill at will. If you speak against them, they kill you publicly, and there is no justice system. The hope of a poor man is supposed to be the judiciary, but you can't run to court if you don't have money, even though you are not wrong, you'll be made wrong by force. So everything is down. There is nothing that is working. So I don't know where the citizens are going to start from, to start correcting their leaders or trying to challenge the authority that be or the power that be, because you'll be arrested. In some cases, you'll be killed. If Fulani can just be going ahead, going to places, killing hundreds of people at a go, without any of them facing justice, facing persecution, facing judgment, no arrest, there is nothing going on. And they boast about it. They even do video, how they slaughter people on the road.
Absolutely.
Without covering their faces.
Absolutely.
So how are we going to start? So the best thing for me, there is no Nigeria. Let us separate. Let everybody just go their separate ways. That is my own opinion.
Okay, you had a lot to say there that we need to unpack. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Talked about the fact that Kogi State embraced Ruga. And let's talk about Ruga again. And then we're going to share that video one more time. And we're going to keep sharing that video until people understand what that Bala Mohammed video actually was saying. So Ruga is a scheme that they wanted to pass off as pasteurization. But then when we look at the real agenda that Bala Mohammed laid out clearly when he sent out a call to all Fulani around Africa to come and become citizens of Nigeria, to receive ranches for free that will be paid for by the federal government 80%, state government 20%, and they will get free land, you know, the ones that are in the lush forest of the Zambezi, as the Bala Mohammed mentioned. And he was asked the question, well, would foreign Fulani benefit from that? And he said, absolutely. He says, when is it going to start? He said, we're already doing it. And now you have firsthand information that they indeed implemented that, bringing in foreign Fulani, taking land from indigents, taking land from states forcibly, and giving it to this foreign Fulani to change the demographics. You've heard him talking about Kogi. And now, in addition to that, they want to introduce a state indigent bill. So any one of these foreign terrorists, this foreign Fulani, Boko Haram, bandits, kidnappers, they're all the same, would be in your state for 5 years. They now become your state indigent. They now become your neighbor. And do you know what that's going to mean? It not only changes the demographics, it sets up a terror situation in Nigeria. We're bringing in all these terrorists from outside of Nigeria. And I'm not telling you anything that I'm making up. Buhari said that those people carrying AK-47s, that they are not Nigerians, but they are from Mauritania, from Central African Republic, from everywhere other than Nigeria, is what he was saying. So why hasn't he stopped them? Why hasn't he condemned them? Why hasn't he labeled them as a terrorist group? But more importantly, we're asking our governors those same questions. Governor, you see these things happening just like we do. You see the news. Where is your voice? Where is your service to the people? Where is it? The demographics is being changed. Soon, foreigners and illegal aliens will be the ones determining who is running Nigeria in every aspect of the word, because they have come in with terror, they have come in with guns, they have come in with their Trojan cows, and they're taking over from indigents. Governor, local government chairman, House of Reps, Senator, where is your service to your people? I'm going to let Bolade make comments around what Festus says, which is very scary, guys. This is very scary. We are really witnessing a slow war, a slow conquest, a violent conquest, not just waged with guns, but waged with starvation. So Bolade, if you can make some comments there.
My brother Festus,
video ready.
My brother Festus, you seem to be the first person that have actually told us the first hand of this thing. And basically, that's all it could lead to, because you said you're from a rural area. So basically, you're farmers. But basically, let me go back and say something. There's a settlement that has been broken anyway before. It was that when the farmers farm and plant things, they become the dry season. That's what we actually call it in Nigeria. I'm right. Now in the dry season, they don't plant no more.
Okay.
And the cattle wearers are free to go to the land and eat up what the farmer's not taken. Now, because of climate change, that's what they want to say, the big one. That is changing. But also, being that people now own the land and the owners of the land are exerting that, look, I own this land, therefore you cannot bring it in like that. We got to change the agreement. They didn't want to change that. That's what they didn't want to do. That's why this is happening to these people, because they are saying, we rural people, we just wear our cars from that place to that place. We're doing it for years. We want to do it. And Nigeria is saying, oh, yes, you can come and do it, which is wrong, because they are not acting in the interest of Nigerians. Now, I'm not.
Bolade, can you talk about, remember, you made a comment and that kind of brought it to mind about what the Buhari government said, give up your lands for your lives, to save your lives. Remember, let's talk about that, because
I keep on saying
that's what Festus is talking about.
He's
using Kogi as an example, but Kogi, Southern Kaduna, Zamfara, all those in the middle belt, plateau,
yes.
They are under attack.
They are under attack, and the idea was this, like I said, if you let them have your land, they may let you live. It's not that they will let you live. They may let you live, because tomorrow morning they might just see you carrying a pail, maybe going to have your bath and say, oh yeah, we don't want to see you here, bang, you're dead. And that's it. Nobody's gonna ask any question, because that's what they do.
That's what impunity is about, right? That's what impunity is about. Okay, so let me play the Bala Mohammed video on Ruga, because we want everyone to understand exactly what's going on in here, because this is the Fulanization agenda. This is the takeover of indigenous lands. This is the stealing of indigenous assets. This is the stealing of indigenous money. We have 100 million living in poverty, and yet foreign Fulani, they get to get free ranches, free land, and choice jobs. So let me get this set up so that we can just kind of take a listen. And I want everyone to listen very carefully to this.
Yes, we do have Mr. Bala Mohammed, the governor of Bauchi State. Thank you for coming on this morning, Your Excellency. Thank you. Well, let's start off with this national livestock transformation. We understand, yes, NEC decided upon it. They came to that decision. They agreed among themselves. The modality is how it needs to work. But help us understand this. First of all, has your state, you're not one of the pilot states, are you?
No, we are not one of the pilots, but having seen that we are in that part of the savannah and in Nigeria, and of course we have most of the pastoralists in our state, we indicated our intention or our interest in the program because we believe some of the mistrust and suspicion surrounding the very nice program could be assuaged, and of course we will participate in a manner that will bring the best in terms of global best practice. We are engaging the Netherlands and other countries to come and help us do this in a manner that at least it will boost our economy. We have so many reserve land and we have so many forests that are not being used. Some of them are even being used by criminals, hooligans, and charlatans, where some aspect of criminality has been provided by that forest that is called Lamembora Forest and the Yankari precincts. So outside the agitation or advocacy of the environmentalists and those that are more concerned with the fauna and flora, we'll be able to provide a salutary effect to the country because we have over 3,000 square kilometers of land that is in the savannah, in a lush vegetation that can be used for this kind of program, even to serve the nation. And while we are doing it as the federal government has conceived it, we want it to be private sector driven, and we'll bring those who are more familiar with it.
Okay, if you say, because I mean, everybody, we want to see that these killings end and there's peace and then people go about their businesses peacefully. Everybody wants to see that. But when you say that you want it to be private sector led, we understand that the government is going to provide 80% of the funding. The state will provide 20% and then provide the land.
Yeah.
How is that going to be private sector led?
The government have not released any cover for that purpose up to this moment, but we don't know since we have not been admitted into the program. But certainly we have been working very hard to see that because our people are mostly transhumans and that we have this vision to create an economic nucleus around livestock. And of course, all the value chain that we can get around livestock, the blood, the horn, the skin. And of course, we will try more to cultivate that culture in our people, while at the same time bringing the Fulanis in one fold and try to arrest their traditional.
Okay. I just wanted to stop right there because a lot has already been said. Bring all the Fulani in one fold. Bring all the Fulani in one fold. This very nice program that he's talking about, a very nice program for whom? Is it for the indigenous Nigerian? No. It's simply for Fulanis. You see how he did not answer the question. How is it private sector driven if the federal government is paying 80% and the state government is paying 20%? Did you hear an answer to that? And free land going to the foreign Fulani. So I just wanted to pause so that everyone can really understand what he's talking about. He's talking about pasteurization, while in effect, he's talking about an invasion, a conquest, a bringing of Fulani people in one fold, in Nigeria, in a country they don't own, on land they don't own, that they are now killing people and illegally using Ruga to give over to them. So I'll go back so we can hear some more, because this is important, very important for our people to hear and understand, and for the foreign nations to hear and understand.
And that is very big, an uphill task. But I think we can communicate with them more, because to them they don't have borders from Cameroon to Nigeria.
But that's the thing, Excellency. How do we ensure that those who will be participating in this federal government largely funded program will be Nigerians?
In terms of the funding?
No, in terms of
the operations.
This is to bring in Fulanis together. We have Fulanis from other countries.
The issue of misconception, I think there is a lot of mistrust and misconception with regards to the Fulani man. The Fulani man is a global or an African person. He moves from the Gambia, from Senegal, and his nationality is just a Fulani man. And as a person, I may have my relations in the Cameroon, but they are also Fulani men. I have relations because from the maternal side, I'm a Fulani man. And that is why we want to educate people. A Fulani man sees himself as a Bayelsa, as somebody coming from the Niger Delta, because he speaks the Niger Delta language, which you and I don't. And of course, we would have to just take this as part of our own heritage.
Okay. The Fulani man, he says, transcends all immigration and all border laws.
Yeah.
The Fulani man lives above all those laws, is what he's trying to tell us, right? And so wherever they land, they have a right to be the president there. And I'm calling on all Africans, Black Africans, pay attention. Migrant Fulani are coming to you. I just saw recently, Liberia, they're now demanding to be recognized as a tribe. And you know what comes from that. We've had this issue in Central African Republic. We've had the issue in Ghana. We've had the issue in so many different places, right? We have the issue in so many different places. Wherever the Fulani goes, terror follows, killings follow. So I see Balade, you want to make a comment? Go ahead. I want us to kind of focus on what he said about the Fulani man transcending any country's immigration law.
He said the Fulani transcends any country, but that is a funny thing, because you can't do that, because I mean, lots of people must have read lots of. Maybe you are a religious person. You've read the Bible. Doesn't the Bible tell you in there certain person was told by God to leave the land of maybe his fathers and go to the land of strangers? They did not rush in and say, "Oh, right, everybody's strangers in here. We're going to kill them." Nobody ever does that. Nobody ever does that. So
Right.
they have come in. They are coming into Nigeria as an invading force. They are taking us down.
Not just Nigeria.
Because Usman Dan Fodio, he failed in his mission. Because that middle belt thing that's in that map there, that was the buffer that he did not take down. And the Hausas that he took down, he didn't take them down either because they were already Islamatized. They just saw it as Islamic brothers coming in their lands anyway.
Right.
So where is the jihad that they fought? They fought a jihad against their own fellow Muslims. It's really insane. And that's what I didn't understand. Because until I started...
Let's focus on what he's saying, right? Let's focus on what he's saying, because it's very important for our people to understand and for the international community to understand. This is an invasion. Ruga is taking the money from indigenous Nigerians to provide ranches and free land and jobs to foreigners, right? We have 100 million people living in poverty in Nigeria. And what is the federal government doing?
Nothing.
Paying for ranches for foreign Fulani.
Which is not their
way, recently, they bought 1.4 billion Naira worth of cars for Niger Republic. While we have 100 million people living in abject poverty in Nigeria,
I think
we have insecurity in Nigeria, and the army that supposedly they had spent what, 3 billion Naira? $1 billion
could I make a joke at one of their expenses?
Do not have enough bullets.
And that's what's going.
Do not have the basic necessity, but Buhari spending 1.4 billion to send security cars to Niger Republic. He sent $1 million to Afghanistan, dollars I mean.
Afghanistan,
while the people in the IDP camps are dying. So let's kind of hurry up and go through this. I'm going to let this kind of run through so that we can get on.
Could I say something?
Okay.
One of these. Okay, go on.
Something that is nice is African, and that we cannot just close the border and say the Fulani man.
Yes, we can close the border. The Fulani man needs to not come into Nigeria anymore.
Crises are precipitated by those outside Nigeria. When there is a reprisal, it is not the Fulani man within Nigeria that causes it. It is that culture of getting revenge, which is embedded in the tradition of the Fulani man.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this here. We have a group of people that will kill you. It's embedded in them. We need to listen to his word because he is telling you the truth. The Fulani man will kill. He's vindictive. He has retribution in his DNA. If you kill one of them, they will kill 100 of you. Who wants that in their society? This is the people we're talking about. This is the people that Antonio Guterres is saying that we should integrate into Nigerian society. These foreign terrorists, these foreign Fulani terrorists. Talking about trying to differentiate them from those in Nigeria. Well, we have not, we have terrorists in Nigeria now. Stephen, I see you're back. Do you want to make a comment on some of this? Because this video is the agenda. It's the agenda of moving Fulanis into Nigeria, taking over from Nigerians, by giving them the land, paying for their land, ranches, displacing the people into IDP camps, and then terrorizing them as bandits and kidnappers. So it creates chaos and a constant instability of the indigents. So, Stephen, can you speak up on that? Valade, I'll let Stephen speak, and then we can move on. Go ahead, Stephen.
Thank you. Ironically, we, the Alliance citizens, are the ones that are surprised about the atrocious actions of the Fulanis.
Mm-hmm.
Based on that interview and an understanding of the word Ruga, he is expressing the sentiments and the mindset of the Fulani. The word Ruga in Fulani's Fulfude simply means my land. So in their minds, they already believe the land belongs to them just because they have forcefully and otherwise set their feet on it. And that's why it's not a big deal for them to start laying down the rules and conditions. Because you may recall, whoever President Buhari is, whichever one it is, came up with a Ruga and the waterway bill a couple of years ago and was defeated. Well, to him, the defeat was only temporary because in his mind, the Fulani man is a global citizen in his myopic, psychotic mind. The Fulani man is a global citizen. So wherever he sets his foot is his home. See, so it's not surprised that crazy Malam came on that interview to say that the Fulani man, wherever he is a Bayelsan once he's there. So it doesn't surprise them. It doesn't surprise them at all, and it shouldn't surprise us either that Antonio Guterres made the comment that he made about integrating. Guterres' comment actually echoes the sentiment of the member nations of the UN, the big powers, because they are benefiting from the chaos, so they have no incentive to intervene, and that's why they're looking the other way. So it is incumbent on us to fight for our freedom. That's my word for now.
Absolutely. One of the things that you said is the fact that Ruga was rejected. So tell me, how is it that in January 2022, the federal government is going to establish 119 ranches in Benue, Taraba, others, the middle belt that is the battleground where the Fulani herdsmen are wreaking havoc, killing hundreds of thousands of indigenous Nigerians? That's where they're going to establish 119 ranches. But one of the things that Stephen said is about how we must arise. So the topic of today has been, what we're talking about today, right? Is we're talking about what is the role, that the role of those in governance is to serve. They are elected to serve. But the citizens must demand that they serve, not starve the people, protect, and not allow their slaughter. Okay, so now what we have seen is the fact that there's so much going on in Nigeria, so much is going on in Nigeria that does not benefit. It does not benefit the citizen. We're talking about the compensation of the politicians. And that's not even the worst part of it. The fact that they're being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars while the minimum wage is 30,000 Naira a month. That's not the worst of it. Some other things is that when they leave office, we have current serving politicians. They are serving, they're still senators when they were governors before, when they were senators before, and they are now receiving pension. They are still working, but they are receiving pension on top of their salaries. My goodness. If this does not raise the conscience of our people, as
What
to
way?
their responsibility to demand. Their responsibility to demand a change in those that they have hired. This is where we are, January 16, 2022. Nigeria, not just the poverty capital, but the extreme poverty capital of the world. The extreme poverty capital of the world. Where 100 million people are starving from the economic war that is being waged on indigents. Now you have the terror and the killing wars where the Fulani herdsmen are preventing people from going to their farms and destroying farmland. I hear from the Southeast, from the Southwest, the Middle Belt, and now slowly moving into the South about this happening everywhere and farmers being prevented from going to farms, being killed, being raped, etc., all with impunity. Impunity meaning that these Fulani herdsmen are not taken to justice. Even when they are caught, they are released. When they are caught, they are released. When they are caught, they stage a jailbreak that the federal government does not respond to. Kuje, jailbreak. No Nigerian armed forces in sight. Terrorist attack in Abuja. No Nigerian armed forces response in sight. Ondo massacre. Abduction. How do you abduct 300 screaming students that are sleeping and you have to bring them all, and the federal government does nothing but negotiate to give them money? How does that happen? That attacks would happen for hours and there's no response. So this is what we're talking about, that the citizens must arise. They must arise. And so what are the things that they need to demand? Let's talk about what citizens can do, because we were talking about it earlier. And Festus rightly was talking about the fact that in some places, because of this fraudulent 1999 Constitution, there is no justice. The International Criminal Court has documented that. The United Nations, when the special rapporteur came in 2019 and 2020, documented that there is no justice. It's a powder keg of injustice. There's two Nigeria. One, the pampered Fulani terrorists. A lot of them illegal migrants. A lot of them terrorists brought in under Ruga, terrorizing people in the forest. Bala Muhammad was correct. There is criminality in those forests, but those in those forests are Fulani. His kinsmen are the terrorists. That's a fact. Right? So what should the citizens do now? Who can they go to? If the federal government is not protecting them, where should they go? Who is going to provide these benefits? Bolade, can you make a comment specific to who?
I think
if it's not the federal
it's going to have to happen. It's going to have to happen. The citizens themselves will have to take matters into their hands. How they'll do it, I don't know. I don't think.
Well, we're talking about specifically what they're going to do.
Well,
because the governors.
To start off with, they'll have to go to their
governors in the states have
they have to tell their governors in the states, because that's the closest they've got. Because really, the closest they've got
local government
and the local government. That's what was going.
The senators,
the local government
the
and
House
the senators
of Representatives
that they elected, that they know, they probably know their names, and say, "Look, this is wrong. You can't have it. We don't want it." Now, if a lot of people in Nigeria do that, it's in the political sphere that they should know that the people are vexed. They don't want it. And if we go to the papers, because the press have a role to play, but the press chicken out. when they see injustice going down, they don't want to turn up. But when they see, oh, some politician's son did something wrong or got beat up, they wanna write a big expose. Why?
Well, we have to remember that we don't have freedom of press either in Nigeria.
To be speak, that's where we're going.
Yes, there's no freedom of press in Nigeria. And you will see recently the reporting coming out of Kaduna of the Fulani who are killing those in southern Kaduna, that the pressmen are no longer reporting it as southern Kaduna. They are now reporting it as Kaduna. So you can't tell that the Fulani are carrying out ethnic cleansing in southern Kaduna. That is the enclave of those who are not extremist Muslims.
Oh, I just wanted to say one. I read this one recently this week. The Nigerian government have said Google, Facebook, and all that. And could you stop giving a platform to all these people, please, because they're giving us a bad name? And Google said, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, because the things we're talking about here are just plain facts.
No,
so let's talk about the things. We've talked about the things that the people are not getting. Security. They're not getting security. What should they do? Because a lot of governors are doing nothing. Why are governors doing nothing?
They get a security allowance or whatever. But what do they do with it?
But that's what I'm trying to talk about. That's what we're talking about now. Nigeria protects the right to self-defense. Communities have a duty to exercise it. This is in the cable, right?
Oh, yeah. I totally agree on that.
This is a premise. This is a premise for what we talked about last week, what we've been talking about for a couple of months now, is that the citizens must demand of their governors, their senators, their House of Rep, the local government areas to put defense in the state that actually defends the people, not harms the people. Because right now we have some in the southeast where they are actually harming the people. Nigerian law protects the right to self-defense. What is self-defense? Self-defense is the ability, your ability to protect your life and property by any means necessary when somebody else is coming to take it away. So with the Fulani herdsmen striking at night, striking in the day, you are allowed to protect yourself. But now what is the problem in Nigeria? The problem in Nigeria is that the federal government has disarmed, taken away the ability of citizens to have arms. And the states do not have laws to provide armed defense of their people until now.
I'm going to say something.
Go ahead.
They interpret it as this. No, those people didn't do nothing. In fact, you did it to them, so we're coming to take you. Even if you do stuff, even if you overdo these Fulani people that came into your land. So basically, you're not supposed to attack them at all. You're supposed to let them do whatever they want, because the law's on their side. That's the way they interpret it.
Well, what we're talking about here is about the fact that the Nigerian citizens, Nigerian citizens have been disarmed. They have been disarmed.
Because that constitution,
the guns have been taken away from
that constitution has taken away all their rights. Because when you want to express your rights, saying, I have the right, it says so there, they'll say, no, you know this part says you don't have the right, so bye, go away. That's it. That's what they've done. So until we take down that constitution as well, we're not getting anywhere, because we're gonna be going back and forth till we get rid of this constitution saying this is wrong, and they say, well, on the constitution we have no rights.
Okay, so let's talk about what the governors need to be doing. Insecurity. Governor Autumn signs amended law to allow volunteer guards to bear arms. He's one of just a few states. I don't know any other state in the middle belt to south that has done this or since then. So every state, all the citizens of the Middle Belt to the south must demand that their governor follow this same process that Autumn has followed and put the law in place to arm the vigilante, and not just with any kind of arming, but the type that would protect the people, from the menace, the existential threat that they are facing. Let's look at what Zamfara is doing, and then we'll talk about Zamfara specifically, right? Zamfara governor calls for self-defense. He calls for self-defense. Wasn't it not a few months ago that he allowed 35,000 Boko Haram to come into Zamfara? 35,000 armed terrorists came into Zamfara, and after just a few months, the governor is calling for self-defense.
Is he not the one who
Antonio
paid them?
Guterres, are you listening? When you integrate foreign terrorists into your society, what's going to happen next is that very governor is now going to be crying for help and putting laws in place for self-defense against the people he just brought into his state, his Fulani kinsmen.
Brothers, kingsmen, yeah, brothers.
But is it a fair fight? No, it isn't. Citizens don't know how to use guns. We're talking about people that have been trained in Mauritania, have been trained in Arab countries to be jihadists, to be killers against innocent citizens. It's going to be a bloodbath. So while self-defense is a part of what needs to happen, every citizen, every indigenous Nigeria must demand that their governor follow Autumn's step and put that in place. However, Autumn has not gone far enough. He's talking about asking the government for money. No, the money that the state has to go to the state police diverted to this because we need to save lives. They need to train them. They need to train this volunteer guard, provide them with protective equipment, get them motorcycles like Autumn is doing, get them cars like Autumn is doing, and then give them the type of, they need to have the type of guns, not the cock and shoot that Amatikon is using and being overwhelmed. Is it a Karadu in the Southwest that was lamenting that they're being overrun by these terrorists? Every state in the Middle Belt to the south is being overrun by Fulani terrorists being brought in under Ruga with the carrot is these free ranches. The federal government under Buhari, and I'm not just saying, I'm not the only one that's talking about the fact that the Buhari government is complicit. I'm not. Amnesty International is talking about it. We've talked about the fact that Bernard Henri Levy was very clear when he said that the Buhari himself was responsible. Let's look at another state. Governor Masari calling for self-defense. He called for it in 2021, and he's called for it again in 2022. What is happening? So, citizens, indigenous Nigerians in the Middle Belt to South, you are under attack. It is real. You can see it. It is real. If the federal government, since the federal government has failed to provide protection, you must demand that your state governors, the senators, the rep, LGA, all of the elected officials must put a state security process in place to protect you. I see that Noah has joined us. Noah, are you in a place where you can talk? You're welcome. Do you want to talk about self-defense and state defense that the citizens must ask the governors to put in place, just like Autumn is starting to do, but we need to push it even further. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Noah? I know you seem to be bouncing in and out. Looks like it's bounced out again. Okay, looks like it's bounced out again. So welcome, Paul. You are welcome. Okay, and Festus, I don't know if you're still there. If you want to chime in and talk about what we're talking about, the responsibility of the indigenous citizens of the Middle Belt to the South to demand that the governors protect them by putting into place state defense mechanisms under the vigilante or volunteer guards umbrella, provide armed farming guards so that the farmers can continue to farm, and so that the Fulani would not be successful in using starvation as a war method. So Festus, did you want to say something about that? Are you at a place where you can speak? Because you can unmute and speak. And Paul, you're welcome. I know you just joined us, but we're talking about the topic. Politicians are elected to serve, and citizens must demand they serve, not starve the masses. They protect and not allow their slaughter. And we're talking right now about what citizens must do, what they must demand. We've been talking about Governor Autumn and the things that he is doing to make sure that his people in Benue State survive. Okay, his people in Benue State survive. And then last week we played a little bit of the video from Nina's, where Tony and Natty, and I'm sharing that screen. It's like activation of armed self-defense. Activation of armed self-defense. This is for, I think this is kind of dual, talking about the individual self-defense, but the state defending its people, because that's one of the rights that the people have, right? So activation of armed self-defense and state defense is what we're talking about. The citizens must demand that. And as we talked about earlier, Balada, you spoke about the fact that they must, insist on holding the elected officials accountable, meaning where are our roads? Where are our
was it Stephen that was talking about the Stockholm syndrome? We seem to be suffering from that a lot. I was gonna say, I read a book when we were in school, Chinua Achebe, A Man of the People, and the person was talking about a minister and said, he has this and that. I said, well, if it was you, wouldn't you do that? And it's the psyche they got. So they say that if you're there and you don't steal millions of pounds, you're stupid. Anyway, so the bigger the money you stole, the better for you. You're a hero now. But if you're stolen, say, oh, I couldn't get my dinner, so I took £5 from the cash and bought my dinner. And I told them, and then I came to pay it back tomorrow. Oh, you're stupid, you're sacked. You're never going to work here again. But if you're taking the whole budget of his department and disappeared with it, he will be a hero.
We're talking about defense. This was back in February of 2021.
Don't be
Federal government gave up a long time ago, people, because they're really not doing anything to protect you. That's why we're talking about the fact that Bernard Henri Levy points the finger directly at Buhari and his government. Because his government is pretty much made up right now, mainly of Fulanis.
Yes.
All the revenue generating sectors of Nigeria is run by migrants. Let us remember, they are not indigenous.
Nope.
So The defense minister has asked us to defend ourselves. However, the defense minister has not put the law in place to allow citizens to get the necessary arms to defend themselves. So how are they going to defend themselves? With forks and knives? With sticks and stones? Against automatic weapons? This is highly disingenuous.
I think this problem goes really beyond Nigeria. If we go back in history to when Gaddafi was taken down, what happened there? There were all these guns hanging about that were hidden all over the place that were for them to go and get. And the Americans had some guns that they were bringing in anyway that they didn't want to put in their hands. So basically, guns were flowing about then there. When did all these things start happening in Nigeria? 2015, taking up from there. It was coming in from there. These guys have their guns somewhere. Somebody even told me, he told me a story at the time. He said, just after the Chibok girls got kidnapped, he said, somebody showed them a video of a helicopter bringing in arms and dropping it for these terrorists or bandits, whatever they were, and they knew the way. They knew the way. They knew. The Nigerian army, they did not know. They had better vehicles than the Nigerian army in that area. So basically, it's a whole thing that's been happening that the Nigerian defense or intelligence security, they are either complicit in it or just not up to the job. I don't know what it is.
Let's shit go.
Yes. Oh, don't show me this man. But this man is the devil.
Federal government knows bandits hideouts.
Could I ask a question?
You can hate
is it true this gentleman was a doctor? Is it true he was a doctor?
You can hate him, but he's telling you the truth. El Rufai, we saw that video last time. El Rufai said they know where these bandits are. So if the federal government knows where these bandits are, who are Fulani herdsmen, why is it that when they go to quote unquote bomb these places, the only people that get bombed are the indigents and they miss the terrorists? They're always accidentally killing citizens.
Yeah.
And not terrorists. Now, if they know where they are, why are they negotiating? Why are they negotiating?
I think El Rufai said, was it El Rufai said we have to negotiate with them?
Why?
I don't know, but that's what he said.
Exactly.
We don't have to.
Complicity. Why are we negotiating when we know where they are? We have $1 billion in arms.
One of them said,
the government purchased. Why are we not engaging them in their hideouts? And we are instead saying we should integrate this foreign terrorists into our society, make them state indigents, take away the water resources rights of the people, including a borehole behind their house, and give that to the federal government, meaning giving that to the Fulani controlled government. Because my people, if you guys are under the mistaken thought that Nigeria is still free, let me disabase you of that. Every single major position is held by a Fulani.
Fulani, yeah.
NNPC controlled by Fulani.
Yep. The whole lot.
FDR controlled by Fulani.
Yep. The Air Force, Navy.
Constitution controlled by Fulani.
Yep.
Presidency controlled by Fulani. And you saw the northern end saying emphatically, they will not allow power to go to the south. What does that mean? It's the lock in the Constitution that they fraudulently put in place.
That is coming from this statement. Who you said, what's it called? Madi Bello said about their great-grandfather, the estate of their great-grandfather, that they're not going to let the South or whatever have control of their own future ever. He said that in 1960. So basically,
and that was shortly after. So let's talk about what should the citizens be demanding from these governors, because it's important for us to talk about that. It is extremely important to talk about that, right? And I see that we've had some more people join us. Let me see.
Yeah, we did. We had two leave and two join.
Maxwell, you are welcome.
Yeah.
We are now on the part where we're talking about what the indigents. We've talked about the fact that those that are elected to serve, not elected to lord it over, right? And our topic is politicians are elected to serve, and citizens have a responsibility. They must demand that the elected officials serve and not starve the masses, protect and not allow their slaughter. And we've talked about all the other benefits, but now we want to focus. We want to focus every time on what citizens must do. What they must do. I think that everyone by now, with all the work that Ninas has done, Ilana Omojua, and some of the other freedom groups have done with regards to Freedom from Nigeria, of course, because we've been out here for a few years, just getting the information out. Nigerian Christian Lives Matter. We've got the Daughters of Truth. We've got lots of different organizations that have been working towards this. Even the Biafra group talking about this. Now we have reason this. For people to understand the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination message from back in 1999, that the 1999 Constitution
must go.
It's a murdering constitution. It's an apartheid constitution. It's an unjust constitution. It is an inequitable constitution. It is a constitution that has hijacked the nations, the ethnic nations in Nigeria. It has hijacked the nations. Okay, so what should they do? So we've been talking about that constitution. And so in 2020, a constitutional force majeure was put in place, which means we are rejecting that constitution. But now we have 2023 elections coming up, and everyone has got to, obedient fever. They've been Tinubuized, or
don't get me going about
articulated, right? And they're missing the fact that these elections are going to bring back that 1999 Constitution. And if you don't end this Constitution, you don't end the violence, you don't end the ethnic cleansing, you don't end the genocide of Christians going on in Nigeria. So, Paul, I don't know if you're at a place where you can speak, or Festus. Let's talk about the things that we're talking about that the citizens must demand. So I'm sharing the screen of some of the things that we want to talk about.
Okay.
What they must demand.
Yeah, Festus, go ahead.
Yes, the citizen for me is simple. To demand their right is impossible because there is no right. As far as Nigeria is concerned, no citizen have any right. Take it or leave it. That is a fact. You don't have right.
Right, but we have governors in place, right, that we elected. So what we're saying is that the citizens cannot just give up.
Yes.
They have state elected officials. And so they need to go to those state elected officials because we have seen it done. Governor Adam in Benue has put laws in place.
Except for any governor who intentionally love his people.
Well, if the citizens, no,
that's wrong.
Are trying to break. No, they are there to serve. It is not at their whim. The citizens hired them. The citizens are paying their salaries, and the citizens must demand that they do their jobs. That's what we're trying to get our people to understand. We cannot accept the propaganda and the lie and the Stockholm syndrome saying that these governors will only do things if they love the people. No, if they are not doing it, they must go. Because we saw lawmakers rising up and saying Buhari must go. Citizens need to rise up. And if the governors are not putting the same law that Governor Adam is putting in place, If
They
they're
must
not
go.
taking state funds to protect their people, they need
They
to
must
rise
go
up and
and
demand
go.
governor must go. Governor must go. Senator must go. House of Rep must go. That's how you get accountability. And that's what we're trying to drive to, right? That is what we're driving to. So, Paul, what are your thoughts on the matter? Paul, are you at a place where you can talk?
Yes, I'm driving. Can you give me some minutes? I will join you soon.
That is fine. Maxwell, do you want to chime in on what citizens must do and the fact and why it is important that they do that? Are you at a place where you can talk, Maxwell?
Okay, thank you very much. So I won't be able to show my face.
Okay,
That's
no
okay. We
problem.
know you.
No, you are the only one that I know here.
Okay, go ahead. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
What will citizens do? Because we keep talking about the fact that the politicians have a responsibility, and the fact that people need to understand that the things that the politicians are not doing is not out of the goodness of their heart. They have money belonging to the citizens that they must use for the citizens. So what must the citizens do?
The citizens of Nigeria, first of all, need to know their rights.
Yes.
You see, we are in a country where our rights have been where people are missing what the demarcation between a right and a privilege to each other. Your right is your right. So it is your right as a citizen. There are constituencies allowance. For instance, there are constituency allowances. Hello, please, now go away. Sorry. We have a country that votes trillions of naira every year for constituency allowance, and we don't see anything. What stops a citizen of a country from getting a copy of the yearly? For instance, what stops Maxwell from getting a copy? What stopped Maxwell from getting a copy of the 2022 appropriation of Nigeria and check the money voted for his electoral district or his federal constituency? The constituency project, and go to decide if truly the projects are being executed. And if not executed, engage the representative or the senator representing the electoral district. Well, we don't do anything. What stopped Maxwell from mobilizing the youth, the students, the self-determination activists, the socio-cultural category, the political activists, the journalists in his state, to bombard the senators or representative of the federal constituency or senatorial district? But we are in a country where the citizens personally do not know their rights. We are in a country where a governor is being commended. For instance, a governor is being commended for safeguarding or protecting his people. No. We're in a country where people have been, governors have been clapped for building, for laying asphalt on roads without a stone base. So the citizens, we need to do a lot on value reorientation, civic education, civic orientation, and value reorientation. We need to, first of all, we need to preach against this, what is called Stockholm syndrome in Nigeria. The citizens don't know their rights. And when you are fighting for them to take you as their enemy, it is you that you are fighting for them that they see as their enemy. They fight you and defend their oppressors. So the citizens, I am of the opinion that they have not, those of us at home in Nigeria, we have not suffered enough. And it's not so. It's not so. I am a community development association, CDA chairman in my area here. I know what I face every day. I witness hunger, poverty, starvation. I witness insecurity. I witness tension, panic every day. But when you call people out for mass action, you don't see them. For instance, for 3 months, we only had power supply for, I think, not up to 72 hours for 3 months. in my area. After 3 months, fortunately, NEPA, I mean, NEPA did not bring light. It didn't supply us electricity for those 3 months. So after 3 months, they now calculated everything. The money we are supposed to pay for 3 months, they now brought it after the 4th month. I now call my people, please, none of you should pay. Gather all your NEPA bills. And let's go and drop it in the NEPA bill. You know, when I sent a threat to the NEPA officials not to come and disconnect our light, do you know people were scared? Do you know people were scared? People started paying for the light for the electricity they did not use. They did not supply us prepaid meter. So with Nigeria is to me, it's so, I don't know where we want to start. So like I said again, we need to do what is called massive civic education, civic orientation.
Yes.
First and foremost, that is where we should start from. Civic, ensure that you let these people know. You know, they said Nigeria is on recession. We are on our economic is a lie. It's a lie. I don't believe in anything recession. If you see what these people spend on daily basis, you go to the schools where their children are schooling, or you go to where their children are living, or where they to live, you see the amount they spend on prostitute every month or every weekend, every day. You know, girls, you know how they, go to phase 2. I know a former governor of my state who has 11 houses alone inside Magodo GRA phase 2. A former governor of my state. Just within, I'm telling you, within 4 years, he bought all the 9 houses in the second time. 9 houses. No, I'm telling you, 9 houses in Magodo phase 2.
It is frightening. It is
frightening.
I can confirm 8 for you in Lekki phase 2. Phase 2.
Wow.
In the that GRA he has 4. So in Lagos, his PA told me he has 30. You know, they are fighting. That's why he started exposing his boss. 30 alone. Now, that is Lagos. So no, I'm not talking about Abuja. Now, he has the radio station. He has the event center. He has everything just within 4 years. And they tell us, when it was the government, so please, and today is a friend of the masses, architect of man. See, I don't want to expose his name to you guys. So now, and if he's walking on the street of Adoki today, you will be shouting, you will see people crowd following him.
Yeah.
Crazy deal.
Yes.
So
that is sad. That is extremely sad.
So the citizens need to wake up. So firstly, I will advise this honorable forum. Maybe we need to do what is called a revolutionary civic education this time around, not ordinary.
Is he not the one saying it's my turn?
Hello?
No, my turn is Tinubu is talking about it. Yeah, because Tinubu, in his case, I think Maxwell, I think Tinubu is getting 300%.
Let's start with the case of
salary in retirement. 300%.
Let's start with the case of Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yes, please.
For instance,
I'm going to ask Paul to go ahead and speak now that he's got into a place. So, Paul, please help us. Thank you very much, Maxwell. That was masterful. What you talking about?
We like what you said, Maxwell. That was very good. That was very educating as well.
Extremely important for people to understand, because for us to overcome that Stockholm syndrome, it's not just them understanding their rights and understanding the fact that they have the power. They also have to overcome the slave mentality that has been ingrained by the colonial masters in telling them that they are less than, everybody else, that the Black man is stupid, has a small brain, cannot think, and yet the Black man around the world today is leading in a lot of places. But, as we talked about previously, we're leading in the past. Paul, go ahead, please.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is this: the Maxwell has spoken well. What the problem is, our people they lack the basic knowledge of their rights. That is one, and fear. These politicians or the rulers all over the years have instilled so much fear in them that they have forgotten some basic protests they need to do to demand their rights. So, like you said, we need a revolutionary way of re-enlightening them, mass enlightenment across board, using all social medias and even the regular media. The other problem we have noticed is that the regular media, the mainstream media, are being controlled mainly by these politicians. So it's only what they are allowed to go through that goes to. So we have to find a way to get that gains. It's part of the problem.
Yes.
The regular media, many of them are they are in the payroll. Their bosses are in the payroll of these politicians holding the country down. So even when some reporters come with very important stories, they usually do what we call killing. They kill it in journalism parlance. They just kill the story. They don't even allow it to see to go through the usual reportorial phases.
Yes.
Then,
Has anyone, Paul, I just wanted to make a comment to what you said about the media. Has anyone noticed that Miiti Allah is no longer in the news?
Miiti Allah.
Yes. Have you noticed they're no longer in the news?
I think I find them on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, but they're no longer in the front pages in Nigeria like they used to be, because the media used to talk about the things that they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they got that 1 billion naira to stop kidnapping people in Nigeria.
No.
The fact that they said that one human being, that 100 human beings equal one cow.
Equal to one cow.
The fact that they said that Nigeria belongs to them.
Yeah.
The fact that they were ridiculing governors in the south,
in
the middle belt to south, for daring to say that they're going to ban open grazing. And has anyone seen them in the news anymore?
But you start seeing them soon. When
you start seeing them soon, when
you start seeing them.
But what I'm talking about is that this is a plan.
Yes,
right? Of course, it's a plan.
They were out there and everyone was up in arms. So now they've now stopped any reporting on them. Just like I talked about the ethnic cleansing going on in Southern Kaduna.
Yes.
Now they're not reporting Southern Kaduna. They're only reporting it as at Kaduna.
Yes.
Because we were out there letting the world know that Southern Kaduna is where the people who are not extremist Muslims, where Christians live. So now the federal government has mandated that you just call it Kaduna. So nobody can tell that it is Southern Kaduna.
Yeah,
what's going on in Nigeria?
Wasn't it not an ethnic cleansing policy going on there?
Okay,
where they were
let's talk one at a time, Balade.
Okay.
The federal government,
people. Go ahead, Paul.
The federal government even threatened the media that they should downplay reporting all this ethnic cleansing by those herdsmen and their terrorists. That if they don't do that, they will be fined this, that. So even when you call in to talk about some things, there's some words you use, they'll cut you down, or they will call on you to stop using that language. They're not sure what you're saying and all that.
Absolutely.
So it's part of it. So definitely, people need to wake up across the country, particularly in the middle belt, down south. Like down south, my state is.
I mean, obviously, we're calling the indigenous Nigerians, the Hausas in the far north, even though that we have the Fulanis that have overcome them, but they still need to rise up. They still need to rise up.
I think, Jane, that is even an issue we need to discuss one of these. I don't really know. How do we separate them now? Some of them who have grown, maybe those in their middle age and below, so not even know whether they are really Hausas or.
No, they do know. They do know. They definitely do know. Because you guys, one of the things that people don't know is that the Fulanis are part Arabs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I read that.
So we're talking about, so they are getting support from Saudi, they're getting support from all these Arab nations, right?
Exactly.
So we're talking about the Arabification of the south
of the country.
Over here, it would be
an Arabification agenda, a Fulanization and Arabification and Islamization agenda that's going on. Because now we have now gone through all these different colonial masters, and here comes the Arabs.
In summary, people should just wake up in summary and demand from their governors and their lawmakers, because the state lawmakers, many of them are just they are under the control of the governors. That's the most painful part of it. Most of these state lawmakers are just under the control of the governors. If the people can tell them, they know them, they know where they live in the states. Go to them, tell them this is what we want. This thing must stop. They should find a way to trouble those lawmakers so they will come to the house and discuss that and probably make some laws that will guide and safeguard them. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I had just come up with something. Really, what happens is this: you see, the Saudis, they have got their own form of Islam, which is Wahhabism, which only came in just about 1914 as well, basically. That's what they want to promote with the British. So that is hand in hand with them, and that is coming our way too. And another thing is that you see, the Muslims in the South are not seen as true Muslims by the Fulanis anyway. They're not seen as them. We're not them. And some other Muslims in the North are in that category as well. So except you're one of them, you're not getting anywhere in Nigeria anyway. Even if you've been doing their bidding for all your life, they'll just say, no, you're not, because where you come from. And they know us, and they know you. Because I'm not ashamed of it. My parents were Muslims, but they were not fanatics like these people. And I told them when I was a kid, I said, well, look, I don't even subscribe to that. And they left me alone. They left me alone. It's only that when I went up north, I got into a bit of trouble. My dad said, because you weren't ready to bow to their ways, you never made it. You never made headway. I said, what are you talking to? It's Nigeria. I thought we the one Nigerian was supposed to be free to do whatever we want. But you know what? When it comes down, when Nigeria comes knocking on your door and it happens to you, you see it happen. It just happens.
Yes. You know, there's a lot of things going on in not just Nigeria, but Africa.
Yeah, it's
all an Arabification agenda in Africa. Because when you look at, you know, the south part of Africa, and I'm talking about like from the west down, as opposed to, you know, just kind of north and south, not talking about east and west, but just north and south. When you look at the southern part of Africa, that's where the wealth is.
Yeah.
The northern part that the Arabs conquered is desert.
Nothing.
So now they want to conquer the lush savannah. You heard Bala Mohammed as he was drooling, the lush savannah where they're going to send their people to. There's something else that people need to demand. The middle belt to south.
You just
remember that the governors put laws in place outlawing any emirs, any Serekis in any state in the middle belt to the south. It's not in our culture. They are not there to take over from we have our own traditional rulers. They cannot bring emir. There's no emir in the south. None. There should be no Seriki of Lagos, no Seriki of Imo, no Seriki of Abia, no Seriki of Benue. No. You cannot come and force your who you consider leaders. You have not conquered that. We're not a conquest area. And you cannot install customary traditional leaders when we have our own. So citizens must demand, because this is how it starts to happen. There's the emir of Festac. That has to be stopped. I see some of the South governors telling them they have 10 days
place wasn't even a town. That place wasn't even a town.
How dare you come in to a culture and you want to usurp the traditional rulers that are there? Stephen, I see you're back. We're talking about these new rising emir of this, Seriki of that is happening in the middle belt to south, which is a conquest move. Do you have any thoughts on that, Stephen? We're getting ready to round up.
You know what? That's a continuation of my last comment, that any action that you observe now, it's just a manifestation of the mindset of the Fulani. they consider us conquered people.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, they do, and that's why they are with impunity imposing their own jihadist rule of law.
Yeah, that's what
in
they
whatever
want to do.
territory.
Holiday, please let him finish.
Yes. What makes it worse? I woke up just as soon as we started talking about the emir of Festac. Yes, I woke up immediately. I said, well, you also need to consider the complexity of our elected officials. How can
Absolutely.
I be the chief executive of a state? How can I be the traditional ruler of a city? And some tribe from the middle of nowhere is coming to ordain another traditional ruler. That's competition that should spark a civil war locally.
Absolutely.
Yes. But they are so corrupted from the mentality of if you can't beat them, join them. They couldn't beat them over the years, so they joined them in the corruption, so no one can speak now. We shouldn't be surprised. It wasn't just long ago that some deputy inspector general came to Magodo in Lagos to start tearing down buildings. The governor of Lagos State showed up there. The deputy inspector general said, no, sir, I have order from above. From above where? In the city of Lagos, in Lagos State. So that tells you how corrupt and ungovernable the system is, that unless the people that elected them wake up, nothing is going to change. Thank you.
This is July 26, 2022, my people. Cross River. You need to abolish that title, because this is what we're talking. This is conquest. This is what we're trying to get the world to understand. We are being invaded. The Fulani, and it's not Hausa. The Fulani, there's no such thing as Hausa Fulani. That is the false narrative that they use for a long time. There's no tribe called Hausa Fulani. It's the Fulani. They are putting these emirs everywhere. They don't exist in the middle belt to the south. Why are they putting this in place to usurp? Because what Othman Danfodio did was to kill the traditional rulers and put his own people in place, put the Fulani in place. That's what they did in the north. That's how they conquered the north. And if the middle belt to south citizens, they must wake up and tell all the governors, you need to put laws in place that there should be no emir or this Seriki of this, no Fulani type traditional ruler title must exist in this place, because that would help to stem the tide of this conquest mentality. But you see it here. He's awake. He's woke, as they say in the United States. He's awakened to what this means, this dangerous practice. Because soon, they will now have a community. The community that will overrun your community. And soon, all of Nigeria would be like the far north, where the Fulani dominate. And let's not forget, maybe they don't dominate the geography right now, but they dominate the economics. They dominate the political landscape. But this is what we're talking about. The citizens need to know what they are supposed to do. If we don't raise the alarm, if we don't make sure that this is going out everywhere, so that citizens would understand what is happening. When you see an emir, you go to your governor, you march to your governor and say, remove that title. We do not have emirs, we have obas. We have chiefs, right? If it's a religious one, that's not an issue. An imam of here, an imam of there, just that's about religion. But when you start bringing Fulani, traditional rulers into a place where they did not exist, it must stop. Citizens, wake up. You are being invaded. You are being invaded. Now you can see the emir starting to show up in Lagos, in Cross River, and in other states in the middle belt to south. That's their conquest pattern. That is what they do to say that they've conquered you. We are not a conquered people. I go with Governor Autumn in Benue that says we are not a conquered people. And we will get back. We need to have a governors. Where are the governors that are talking about restoring the nations? Which one? None of them. If citizens don't demand it to restore those nations, because in 1963, we had nations. And I have them, I'm going to let somebody else talk. Balade, keep it on point and keep it short. I'm going to pull up the 1963 Constitution so you can see the words that were in the preamble compared to what they're telling, the nonsense they're telling us today. In fact, I'll go to the Twitter account. Balade, go ahead. I'll pull it up because I have it. I've it out today.
In the current Constitution, it says any law made before January 1966 should not be considered. They're going back to what you just saying there, that should never come up. It should never come up. Why they think I don't know.
Again, that tells you what we're talking about how absolutely deadly these people are. How they are going back and trying to rewrite history.
Right, the whole thing. They're
rewrite history. Okay? That should not stand at all. That should not stand at all. Right?
Which I never thought about it until recently. You know, the 1966 coup, the first coup in Nigeria, the Sultan of Sokoto was the only traditional leader that was killed. I used to think to myself, why was that? It was because Tafawa Balewa himself was subservient to the Sultan of Sokoto in reality. So the Sultan of Sokoto, their power base had to be, that's what the young officers were thinking anyway. They had to remove that power for them to actually be in power anyway, if they were actually going to say, well, they didn't succeed, so the rest is history.
Okay, sorry guys, I am trying to show the window where we can look at the 1999 Constitution because I just tweeted it out because it is important for us to know that. Take a look at this, my people. This is the Constitution of 1963, right? And look at what it says in the highlighted area. Nigeria shall be a federation comprising regions. Federation means a conglomerate. It means a collection of nations. A federation comprising regions and a federal territory, and shall be a republic by the name of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There shall be 4 regions, that is to say, Northern Nigeria, Eastern Nigeria, Western Nigeria, and Midwestern Nigeria. And did you know that each had their own separate constitutions? But when you look in the fraudulent 1999, it says that we are going to be indivisible, indissoluble. Where's the referendum that brought that into place? Right? So we're talking about a tale of 2 constitutions. A tale of 2 constitutions. Right?
The 99 Constitution also says we the people have given consent to this document, but the people never gave. The doctor didn't know didn't know when it was put together.
Absolutely, that's kind of what we're talking about, right? Because it is a fraud. It is a fraud. So it's a tale of 2 constitutions: 1963 versus 1999. One of the people and the other of the Fulani Caliphate. One of life and the pursuit of happiness, which is 1963, and the other of death and the pursuit of other people's lands. And that's why NINAS and other freedom organizations, including UNIPA, Freedom from Nigeria, Yoruba Global Directorate, Ilana Omodua, the PANDEV, the Niger Delta Group, the Middle Belt Forum, are all saying no to this constitution. But unfortunately, there needs to be more education so they understand the path that we need to follow to get out of this. And it's not through the elections. The elections are sharing the information as to how INEC has destroyed a lot of PVCs. So PVC is not INEC proof. PVC is not bandit proof.
No.
PVC is not 1999 Constitution proof. So
Oh.
do you want to go through the election and remain and increase the probability, the possibility of the migrant Fulani taking over our country completely? Or do you want to stop that election and send all those foreign Fulani out of Nigeria because they're illegal in this country? Buhari told us that all of those that are carrying AK-47s, he said that. They say they are foreigners. Okay, Buhari, why have you not sent them out?
I got another one. They said if there are people saying, oh, Buhari has succeeded, he's a success. Now, the only success he could have succeeded is if this was the plan for him to do anyway.
It is what they plan for him to do. Because has he defended Abuja from the terrorists?
He couldn't even defend Abuja, that's very funny. He's a military person.
We saw from Melafia, who a lot of people believe lost his life when he made that statement, that the plan is that the Buhari will hand over the government to these terrorists. So if Buhari is not taking up arms against these terrorists that are encircling Abuja, right, to where they have to close down schools and everything, doesn't that give credence to what Melafia said? Now you saw what's his name, El Rufai.
Yeah, El
He
Rufai.
now comes out and he said that the terrorists have a parallel government in Kaduna State. Well, El Rufai. The same El Rufai that said that these terrorists were businessmen.
He said they paid them and we paid them and we willingly paid
He
them.
said that they are businessmen.
Of course they're business.
Unlike the people who are agitating for their freedom. He said he called them businessmen.
They are businessmen like the mafia.
But now he doesn't like those businessmen now, right? Because they are now taking over his state and are getting ready to run him out.
Yeah, they're gonna run him out.
It might be a ruse. I mean, Melafia did say that one of the current governors, right?
Yeah,
one of the current governors is the leader of Boko
Haram. Yeah.
So who is it? Is it El Rufai?
He wouldn't say. He wouldn't say.
El Rufai writes Buhari, says terrorists creating parallel government in Kaduna. Well, they are creating a parallel government in a lot of places, especially in the Middle Belt, as they are getting ready to strike. So I am going to, let me stop sharing this, and I want to go into Prof. Akintoye. Let me bring up his video where he talked about what is going on in Nigeria, the letter that was written, so that we can put into perspective at the end of the day, so that Nigerians, the indigenous Nigerians, would understand. They need to understand what is going on. So just give me a second while I get that video going so that we can start rounding up. At this point, I'm going to ask other folks that want to make a comment to go ahead and make a comment.
We haven't heard from Elder Noah at all today.
Noah is at work.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So but let me get to Akintoye because it's important for us to listen to what the plan is. First of all, we've looked at what Bala Muhammad had to say. We saw what Bala Muhammad had to say about Ruga. So we know what that's about. So now let's hear what Akintoye had to say.
Okay. I think I'm not seeing this one. Uh-oh. No bottom.
Yeah, give me a second, trying to stop this. Okay. I think that is very telling about what is going on. We've seen Bala Mohammed. We've heard Akintoye today. We heard T.Y. Danjuma. We've been showing this repeatedly because it's important for our people to see this and understand collectively what's going on. And I think next week, I think what we're going to do is that we're going to get a collection of these videos and play them one after the other. I think we need to get a collection of these videos. Stephen, what do you think? We need to play these one after the other so that people will actually understand what's going on. What do you think, Stephen? Because we're talking about people understanding what is actually going on. Stephen, your thoughts? We'll just play these because we've got lots of it. We've got lots of videos telling us exactly what's going on. So we want people to see it all together in the hour to 2 hours that we're going to be together. We want them to be able to see it, hear it, one after the other, and understand that what we're telling them about is real.
I have to agree. If there's any opportunity left for any form of awareness or nudging to the reality of the hell that we unwittingly placed in, I think we need to use the shock treatment that those videos will provide.
Okay.
It certainly will wake people up.
Yeah, because I know, you know, the video that you sent out, I think we definitely need to show that, right? We need to definitely show that. We have just a wealth of videos. So I think next week will be where we just introduce the subject and then let the video play. Introduce the next one, let the video play. I think that would be a really good thing because then in just that one, in that one session, people will see all these videos together. I think that's going to be a very good use of our time in our next.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we're inviting everybody to join us next weekend, next Saturday, and you're going to have a treat where you're going to see video after video after video after video, so you get to understand exactly what's going on. But to round up for today, what we've been talking about is the elected officials are elected to serve, S-E-R-V-E. They're elected to serve the people. But the citizens have a responsibility to hold them accountable, meaning the citizens must demand that the elected officials do the jobs that the citizens are paying them to do. They must demand that they cut their compensation down to like 10% so that other people, the 100 million that are starving, will live. That they put in state defense, self-defense laws. That they make sure that they outlaw Ruga, and that if the federal government, like Buhari is doing right now, wanting to put 119 ranches in the middle belt, all governors in the middle belt to the south must reject it and call him to order because it has been rejected. Ruga was rejected and he does not have the right to put it in place. They must demand that there be no emirs, no Serekis in the middle belt to south, because we have our own traditional rulers and we don't need their influence to be watered down or for them to be killed like happened in the north. You must insist that they put in the state defense, they train them, they give them the adequate weapons, the adequate vehicles and motorcycles, the walkie-talkies and everything that they need to protect the people. This is the right of citizens. Citizens must demand that the roads be fixed, that schools run, that the payment be made to people. They're already being paid so little. It must be paid. The politicians were able to pay 100 million naira to get an application to apply for being president. How many is that? 100 million Nigerians are dying of hunger. The children's minds is like a gun to their heads. Starvation is a gun to the heads of the young, as they're trying to destroy the indigenous Nigerians. We cannot continue to be party to it as citizens. We must speak up. And those of us that are woke, as we say in the US, those of us that are woke must make sure that we're communicating this on an ongoing basis, and every single line of communication that we have to utilize it. The newspapers are a great place to put the statements out. So I urge everyone in the diaspora to step up, educate us people. We need to break the Stockholm syndrome. We need to break the slave mentality. We need to let our people understand what a great race we are. It's our responsibility to hold the elected officials accountable. So thank you all very much for coming. We're going to be here next week. And next week, as we talked about, it's going to be video after video telling you exactly the agenda of what's going on in Nigeria. So I'm going to wish everyone a happy weekend and to see you back here next week. Thank you all very much. And